Start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karneभिः शृणुयाम देवाः Bhadram पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसश्चनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृत्तश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षोररिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We are doing Shankaracharya on Mandukya Upanishad. We have finished up to 35th mantra of the second chapter. There are 3 more mantras left for this chapter called Vaitatya Prakaranam. The entire chapter is devoted to one word, which is Pancha Upashama, in the 7th mantra of the Upanishad. What it means is, this entire world which we experience today gets resolved every day in our sleep and also during Pralayam. Where does it get resolved? That is the question. Every day in our sleep state, we see that the world is, which we experience in the waking state or the dream state, it's not there. The world resolves. Always the world resolves into Ishvara, which is the third pada of Mandukya Upanishad. But beyond this Ishvara, there is, which is a part of Saguna Jagat. Jagat is Saguna. Jiva is Saguna. Ishvara is Saguna. Consisting of 3 shariras. Sukshma shariram, Stula shariram, Karana shariram. All this is the first, second, and third part. But beyond this lies Turiya, which is pure existence, which supports the 3 paras. Without Turiyam, there is no world. This is the way I have to understand the 7th mantra. Prapancha Upashamam takes place. That is our Anubhava for all of us. But what we learn in the Upanishad is something new, which we don't know. And it is a reality. It is something which exists. It is my real nature. All that the Upanishad teaches us. So Turiyam is something which is lying beyond the Prapancha Upashamam. Prapancha Upashamam, when the Upanishad negates the world, falsifies the world, it is with a purpose to reveal Turiyam Brahman, which is a support for the world. It is a support for the Jiva, Jagat, Ish. And that Turiya is absolute reality. There is nothing beyond that, and there is nothing which is born out of. It is Akaranam Brahma. Karanam and Karyam is with reference to the relative world. But in the absolute world, there is no Karanam or Karyam. So that is what the Upanishad is trying to explain to us in this second chapter. Now, let us go and start with the 36th Karika. This is an introduction portion of the 36th Karika. And here, what Shankaracharya wants to say is, let me play the 36th Karika before, which we did last week. We introduced last week, and I'll come back to this 393 topic. Just for recollection purpose, this is the Karika.
तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनम् अद्वैते योजयेत् स्मृतिम् अद्वैते योजयेत् स्मृतिम् अद्वैतं समनुप्राप्य अद्वैतं समनुप्राप्य जडवल्लोकमाचरेत् जडवल्लोकमाचरेत्.
After a Jnani realizes that he is the absolute Turiya Atma, that is his intrinsic real nature, how does he deal with the world? Sthita prajna chaka bhasha samadhista svakeshava. How does the Jnani move about? Bhagavad Gita in the 55th shloka of the second chapter describes as Sthita prajna. Now, this particular mantra is talking of the same person. The Jnani, which is described in the Gita, Gaudapadacharya and Shankaracharya, they are talking about the same type of person. Now, the Jnani is one who has identified with his real nature, which is Sat Chit Ananda. And that is a non-dual reality. That means the world comes and goes, appears in that pure Atman. So suppose I realize, I say that I am the Chaitanya, I am the consciousness. All of us, when we are listening to this mantra, we should say, I am that consciousness, and the world which I am experiencing is an incidental, vyavaharika satyam, but I, the Chaitanya, am paramritika satyam. Having known this, you continue your life as if what? As if you are an insentient living being, as if you are an ajnani, you continue your life. That's what this mantra is saying. Now, what are the that was what was we discussed this in the last week. Today we'll start with this 393 Bhashyam. In this Bhashyam, it is an explanation of this mantra number 36. One should concentrate one's mind continuously on this Advaita Jnana. That is what Shankaracharya is saying in this particular commentary. Ataha. Ataha means what? Therefore, after knowing I am the Turiya Atma, was mentioned and as taught in the second chapter of Mandukya Upanishad, I claim Aham Satyam Jagat Mithya. Without the knowledge of Turiya Atma, one can never claim this truth. That is why the study of Upanishad is extremely important, and especially when we study with Shankara's Bhashyam, it becomes very, very thorough. It is not a superficial study. It is a thorough study because he is the greatest Acharya who can teach Brahma Vidya. And what we are studying is what he has written about these things. In this particular portion, Shankaracharya says he takes a mantra from Bhagavad Gita and he says Atma is free from six urmis. Urmis means six waves of samsara. I'll explain to you what are those urmis as we go along. So after Shravanam and Mananam and Nididhyasana, continuously thinking of I am that Atma, I am that Atma, that is my real nature. Then what happens to the Jnani? Jnani gets a lot of benefits. The Guru helps us in giving us the Jnana, but the Shishya has to do the Mananam and Nididhyasana. Mananam will help you to crystallize this Brahma Tattvam in our own mind. All this is an intellectual study. Our mind has to go through this knowledge. And when it goes through this knowledge, what happens? Some obstacles which may be there in our mind, they get removed. That is the advantage of Mananam and Nididhyasana. Brahma Sutra, the fourth sutra which of Brahma Sutra says Tattu Samanvaya. Tattu Samanvaya means this Brahman is the ultimate reality which is revealed in the Upanishads. Try to understand this Brahma Vidya. It is a higher reality. It is there all the time. The world is there, plus Brahman is there. Without Brahman, there is no world. Without Brahman, there is no Jiva. Without Brahman, there is no Ish. Now, the six urmis are the six waves which strike all of us in the Vyavaharika world. Is the first, there are three pairs. First pair is Ashana Pipaya, hunger and thirst. This is the Pranamaya Kosha. See how different Upanishads have got different styles of revealing the Pancha Koshas. Taittiriya Upanishad clearly says Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Beyond that is Atma. Beyond that is Brahman. Here in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, chapter 3, 5th section, first mantra, Kahola Brahman. In that it says the same Atma Brahman is revealed as beyond three pairs of opposites, three pairs of obstacles which strike all the ajnanis. Ashana Pipaya, Pranamaya Kosha, Jara Mrityu, old age and death, which is Annamaya Kosha. Shokha is sorrow, which is Manomaya Kosha. All of us, we experience sorrow where it is not in the Annamaya Kosha or Pranamaya Kosha, but it is in Manomaya Kosha. Then there is delusion. We experience delusion. Delusion means what? I'm very confused in life. Moha. Moha means it is Maya Tattva, Rajas, in our mind. That is Vijnanamaya. So one who can transcend these six waves is a Jnani. He has crossed over samsara problems. All the six You suppose you want to define what is samsara to your friend. This will be the easiest thing to explain. What are the six aspects of samsara? Shana, Pipaya, Jara, Mrityu, Shoka, Moha. All our life is only this only. And to cross over this only, Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya is taught to a student. These are the mantras which are in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which are put in here, where it says that the self is within the entire universe. It's like, suppose you have five vessels. In India, you will get these vessels. You can put one inside the other. So, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, all this is there. But all these are where? Inside Atma, inside Brahman. That Brahman you cannot know directly. It is only when you come to Upanishads, they reveal this Brahman, which is not only inside the body, but it is also outside the body. Actually, you can't even say it is inside or outside because it is Saksha Paroksha Brahman. Suppose in meditation you have reached that ultimate inner essence. At that time, what you should say, I am that Brahman, I am that consciousness, I am that Chaitanya. Only when you say that, what happens? All your other thoughts, your vasanas, slowly they get eroded and you are able to live in that formless, real nature. Mandukya Upanishad has this beautiful mantra in the second chapter. Divyo Yamurte Purusha Sabham. So, Sabhaya Bhayantaro, that means it is not inside, it is not outside, but it is me. Sarvaloka Vyavahara Atita. It is not participant in any transaction. That means Brahman is like that light. It is like the Surya. It is like the Surya. In that Surya, in that sunlight, transaction takes place. In that consciousness, transactions takes place. But that light consciousness is ajaha, vyavaharyam. Ajaha means unborn. Body is born. But when you come to Vedanta, what do you understand? I am not the body. Then who are you then? You are Turiyam Brahman. Viditva means know that Brahman as Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that Advaitam Brahma. Advaitam means what? The world doesn't really exist. We exist. Waker alone exists. The dream world doesn't exist. With reference to the waking world. When you come to the Turiya Atma, Turiya Atma alone exists. The waker is an incidental feature. This is the way I have to know Upanishads. See, so beautiful is the second chapter. Go through this second chapter again whenever you have time, maybe after 2 years, maybe after 3 years. Again, when you study the second chapter and these talks you listen again, they will make more deeper meaning to you. What keeps us busy in the world of samsara without realizing I am that pure Turiyam Brahma? In Veda, it is called as Dushta Chatushtayam. Dushta Chatushtayam. Chatushtayam means four. Dushta means what? Inferior four. What are the inferior four? ahamkara, mamakara, raga, and dvesha. Because of I, which comes and which attacks us the moment we wake up on the body, and we have so many relationships with the world, family, office, society, so many relationships. Relationships are all mamakara. Only when I identify with this body, mamakara will come. The moment ahamkara and mamakara comes, raga and dvesha is unavoidable. I want so many things, I like so many things to acquire, so I will put action. I want to get rid of some things, dvesha. So as long as this dushta chatushtaim is there, Vedanta is difficult to understand and to realize. Once you have got to a reasonable extent, nobody can get rid of ahamkara, mamakara, raga, dvesha 100%. Even if you are able to get rid of it 20%, 30%, you will come to these sessions. All of you who are listening to this talk means you have diluted your dushta chatushta. Once you have come to jnanam, you should never say, I am a jnani in the public. You can tell yourself in your own intellect, I am the Turiyam Brahma. It is a personal knowledge given by the Veda to you. Na buddhi bhedam janayet. Gita says very clearly. Don't try to confuse the world because they are not ready to listen to you. In the third chapter, 26th verse, this verse here, na buddhi bhedam janayet jnanam ajnanam karma sanghinam. Josha says sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. Don't unsettle other people because they are not ready, even if you have understood the truth. You can encourage others to do Panchamahayajna, which will help them to purify the mind and get the strength in the mind to face the world and come to Veda. Inside the mind, what should a person do? Sakta karmanyas vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata. Once an ignorant man is outside, a wise man should also act without attachment. Ignorant man will always cling to the world as Satyam. Whereas a wise man will also live in the same world, but he will be able to drop the world whenever he wants it. Because the world ultimately is false, it's falsified, like the rope snake. Okay, this is a revision portion for this 36th mantra. To 34th mantra is the main teaching of Prapancha Upashamam, which is Jagat Mithyatvam. 35 to 38 are the sadhanas. We are in the 36th Karika. The sadhanas which are prescribed is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Mananam, Nididhyasana. And in this 36th mantra, we are talking about Nididhyasanam, Ufanyani, where the Viparita Bhavana Nivritti will take place. What is Viparita Bhavana? Viparita Bhavana means earlier, before knowledge, I used to say I am a Jiva. The Jiva Bhava is entrenched into the intellect. Therefore, the Dushta Chatushtayam will affect the Ajnani. The moment I keep on saying in my own internal mind, I am Sakshi, I am pure Chaitanyam. In me alone, this entire Jagat is existing. It is originating and it is resolving. This truth you must always remember. This flow of thoughts will result in Advaita Jnanam. Then what happens? Then you can voluntarily, you can say, I am Jnani, but only in your own mind. Keep others who are not ready, do not confuse them. That is the essence of this Karika. Now let's go to this 37th Karika.
निस्तुतिर्निर्नमस्कारः निस्तुतिर्निर्नमस्कारः निस्वधाकार एव च निस्वधाकार एव च चलाचल निकेतश्च चलाचल निकेतश्च यतिर्यादृच्छिको भवेत् यतिर्यादृच्छिको भवेत्.
Gaudapadacharya explains further the sadhanas of a jnani. After getting this knowledge, which is Atma Jnanam, take Atma as the ultimate support in the world. Why? Because Atma is the higher nature of Ishvara. Ishvara is the Jagat Karanam, and Atma happens to be the self in me, is the same self which is Jagat Karana Brahman. That is what he says in this mantra, Karika number 37. Charya, lifestyle. What type of lifestyle should you have while doing nididhyasana? Religious activity and social activity, try to reduce it. As grihasthas, we cannot completely have zero religious activity or social activity. Reduce those activity and spend time in Vedanta, Shravanam, Mananam, nididhyasana. Do the family duties. Then you will have, you will be free from preoccupied mind. Here Shankaracharya says, a sannyasi lives in two houses. Very beautiful way he has put it. One is, he lives in the body for bhiksha. Atma resides in the body, chalaniketa, for worldly needs. He is living in the body. But what is his original house? Chalaniketa. Chalaniketa means moving body. Chalaniketa means non-moving house. Non-moving house is his real house, which is Turiya Brahman. Chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita has this beautiful words. Idrichālāpa santushtaha dvandātīto vimatsaraha samasiddhau cha kritvāpi na nibodhyate. A jnani is always contented. Normally, what about us? We are all never contented in life. I want this, I want that, I want that, I want this. This is the difference between a jnani and jnana. So contentment is one of the most important qualities which is taught in the yama niyama and those disciplines in Ashtanga Yoga. It's very, very important. Santushtaha is very, very important. In the next paragraph, Shankaracharya's commentary, he says you can give up other things. like doing rituals, chantings, salutations, and other things. Devote your time for Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. Why do you do this? Because Vedic rituals are meant for some benefits in this world. It can be putra for a son or a daughter, laukika vyavahara for vitta. Vitta means wealth. You can do avahanti homa for swarga loka. If you are not interested in this loka phalam, you can say, I want paraloka phalam. So when you drop these three desires of putra, vitta, and the loka phalam, then you become a jnani. Brahmanic Upanishad in this particular mantra talks about putreshanam, vitteshanam, and lokashanam. Lokashanam. So all karmas which we do, karma means actions and rituals. They are meant for three desire fulfillment. Putra, putra includes everything. It includes all, what can come. I mean, all the happiness which can come. Then loka eshna, which is paraloka, or vitta, which I said, well. So for a person, a seeker, these eshanas, these desires may be there, but what is the main desire he has in his mind? Moksha. Moksha means I should be free from desires and I should be able to settle or abide in Atma. How is this possible? Only when I understand what is the nature of Atma. That is why Atma Jnanam is very important in the initial stages. Even as a seeker, we should first gain what is this Atma, what is this Brahman, what is this Brahman which is supposed to be Jagat Karanam Brahman. Taittiriya Upanishad beautifully says this. I mean, Brahma Sutra also discusses this in the first four sutras. So, two aspects of spiritual study. One is to understand Brahman, what it is, what is the truth behind the universe, the truth behind Jiva Jagat Ishvara. And the second is how I can abide in that truth. Both are extremely important in the spiritual study. Absorbed in that self, there is no return to this world of samsara. In the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 17th verse, so many Bhagavad Gita verses, Brahmanic Upanishads are being quoted, all to drive home the same truth that Atma Jnanam is very, very important for a person, for a seeker who wants to experience that freedom from this body and mind. Commitment to Jnana should be the highest goal. I want this Jnana. I will work hard to get this Jnana because the Veda talks to me about this Jnanam giving me immense benefits, which is called as Param Purushartha. Moksha Purushartha is the highest goal of human life. See, all this very beautifully Gaudapadacharya and Shankaracharya explain to us the importance of sadhanas, importance of this study. The next topic, number 399, Shankaracharya continues on the same topic of Chalaniketa and Chalaniketa, two residences, which we have already seen. Chedyoyam adhayoyam akledyo soshi evacha nitya sarvagata sthanuho achaloyam sanat. Achaloyam, the same thing, Achala Niketa, is used in Brahmanica. The two residences, very beautiful Shankaracharya's. See, one is I live in this body and I live in my original home. My original home is Avyavaharya. Avyavaharya means what? Without any activity. It is nirvikalpa. There is nothing there except I alone am Brahman. I am that pure consciousness. In that pure consciousness alone, this world is experienced. The self cannot be cut, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be moistened, it can't be dried up, it is eternal. Very beautiful mantra of the second chapter describing the nature of this art. During Vyavahara, we naturally abide in this body. Suppose you're working in an office or you're a doctor working in a hospital. Automatically you are in Vyavahara. You are living in the body, doing actions which are required, either in the kitchen, either in the hospital, either in the bank, either in the an IT center, so many things. But during those times when your mind is not occupied with the world, thoughts are not centered on the world, at that time remember this truth. I am that Atma. I has got two aspects. Vachyartha, Lakshyartha. Vachyartha means during transactions. Aham Jivaha. I am Chalaniketa. I am in this body performing, body is performing actions. I am only indweller. What is the Lakshyartha of Aham? Lakshyartha means what is the indicative meaning, implied meaning of I? That is what is Atma. That is pure Brahman or Turiya Chaitanya. Sarvakarmani manasa sannyasyastre sukham vashi vadvare pure dehi naikurvanna karaya. Who will say this? That Atma, that Jiva which knows the second house can renounce mentally all the actions of the body and say that this Navadvare Pure, this body of 9 gates, is only a temporary residence for me, but my permanent residence is in dhyana, in meditation, one thinks of Achala Niketa Atma. Jnani does not emotionally depend on anything in the external. Gatasangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasa yajnasa karma samagram praviliyate. Fourth chapter is beautiful. One who is devoid of attachment, he is the one who is a jnani. And all his actions are dissolved here. It doesn't have any punya papam being carried. So the spiritual journey is karma yoga and jnana yoga. Karma yoga at the time in the beginning stages, like in the chapter 3, 4, 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks of karma yoga, where the seeker goes from world dependence to God dependence. There is a God who is a creator of this world. I depend on the God for all my actions. When you come to Jnana Yoga, what happens? You shift from God dependence to self dependence or dependence on Atma. Atma is nothing but the God only. The self of the universe and the self of this body is the same. So this verse of fourth chapter, we already covered this. Jnani is content with whatever he gets in this universe. He's free from the pairs of opposites. So that is why a sannyasi, he doesn't think whether I have got a good diksha today or a bad diksha. He accepts whatever he gets. So similarly, what is the teaching for us? Our prarabdha karma will bring us into this world of challenges. So many things will come to us. And what will happen is we will be facing challenges in life. But our mind should have the strength to say, yes, this will also go away. Okay. Allowed to seek only bhiksha and vastram, sannyasis. Okay. That's about the sannyasis. So this verse number 37 talks about a sannyasi who is with Atma Jnanam and he lives a spontaneous life. These are all the uh, the teachings for a person who wants to be a jnani so that he can also get to know what are the benefits I can get by having this Atma Jnana. Okay, next is this 38th verse.
तत्त्वमाध्यात्मिकं दृष्ट्वा तत्त्वमाध्यात्मिकं दृष्ट्वा तत्त्वं दृष्ट्वा तु बाह्यतः तत्त्वं दृष्ट्वा तु बाह्यतः तत्विभूतस्तदा रामः तत्विभूतस्तदा रामः तत्त्वादप्रच्युतो भवेत् तत्त्वादप्रच्युतो भवेत्.
So this is the last mantra of the second chapter. And again, Gaudapadacharya says, the Jnani who has known this prapancha upashamam, he becomes one with that reality which is Turiyam Brahman. And he never deviates from that. That means he always remembers the truth of pure Turiyam Brahma as his Swarup. That is very important. There is some Turiyam that is not the teaching. I am that Turiyam. I am that pure self is the ultimate teaching of the second chapter after knowing Prapancha Upashamam. Prapancha Upashamam is an incidental thing, but the absolute reality is this truth, which is Turiya. Sarvabhutastha Atmanam Sarvabhutani Chakmani Yikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshana. All this 38th mantra is describing what Bhagavad Gita has taught in the 6th chapter and the 5th chapter and the 4th chapter. All these verses today we have done. In the 6th chapter of the Gita, again it talks about the same Jnani which we are discussing here in 2nd chapter, 38th mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. That Jnani sees all beings are existing in that Atma, Turiya Atma. So when I am in the spiritual study, my mind should go to some reality in which this whole universe gets dissolved and then Turiya alone stands. Don't drop Turiya. After resolution of the world, you must remember there is a reality. That is the reality we are talking about, in which there is Turiya, Atma, Lo. Once you know that Atma, then what happens? You can meditate with open eyes or closed eyes because I know the truth. I don't see the truth with my eyes, but I know the truth through my intellect. Satrupena vartate. When I open the eyes, it is all existence, existence, existence. The world is existence. The entire world is nothing but it is Ishvara. When I close my eyes, it is Chit Rupaha. Chit means it is the Sakshi, it is the witness of all my emotions. It is the witness of all my thoughts. Eternally, changelessly, that Sakshi is there. Asti bhati priyam rupam namached amsha panchakam didrishi viveka. There are five aspects in this creation. Sti bhati. Sti means it is shining. It is existing. Bhati means it is shining. The entire world is existing. Entire world is shining. Shining means I know the world. Priyam, the world is dear to me. These three, Asti, Bhati, Priyam, this belongs to Atma. Nama Che, Amsha Panchakam. Name and form belongs to the world. The first three, Asti, Bhati, Priyam, belongs to Atma. Atma lends existence to the world. Atma lends knowingness to the world, consciousness to the world, and it is lending ananda to the world, bliss to the world. World is jadam. It doesn't have happiness. Rupam nam, form and name belongs to the world. Therefore, you can drop the name and form, hold on to Asti Bhati Priyam, which is the Drik. Drishyam is Nama Rupa. If you know this one verse of Drik Drishya Viveka, which is verse number 20, you will know the entire Vedanta. So the truth is, it is the substratum. Reveling in this truth gives me the benefit of Atma, Anand. Shankaracharya's Bashyam now on this 38 mantra. He talks about this Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa means immediately you should remember Chandogya Upanishad, which is the sixth, in the sixth chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. He quotes now here 2-3 Upanishads, Mundaka Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad. You'll see all those Upanishads. The reality behind the universe consists of three things: Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. So there is a truth behind this, which is this Atma. When you know the truth as Satyam, then only you can see the world as Mithya. Anatma is Mithya. Anatma consists of body, mind, sense organs, the world. Because without body, you can't experience the world. Without mind, you cannot experience the world. Without the sense organs, you cannot experience the world. And what lies behind this Anatma is this Satyam, Turiyam, Brahman. See, so many times we have repeatedly said about this Atma, Anatma, Atma, Anatma. Our mind, because it is gross by nature, needs to hear this truth many times. And as we hear more and more, slowly the knowledge of Atma trickles in our mind. World is exactly like Swapna or a magic show or rope snake. It is mithya. It is experienced, but it is not non-existent. Non-existence is different than mithya. There are three categories which we have discussed at the beginning of this chapter. Satyam, which is always existed, which is only Turiya Atma. Asat never existed. Asat means it is non-existent, like the flowers in the sky. Then there is a third category which is called as mithya. Under this mithya will come examples of swapna. It will come example of magic show, rope snake, shell silver. All that will be coming under the third category. What is the source of knowledge for this Satya Atma? Shankaracharya gives this beautiful quotations from different Upanishads. Chandogya Upanishad, chapter 6, first section, fourth chapter. The fourth mantra. What does it say? Like you have a single lump of earth, the entire universe is nothing but it is like all the products which are born out of earth or mud. Atma is the real self. Like pot is born out of clay. Clay is Satyam, pot is Mithya. Atma, consciousness is Satyam. World, body, mind, sense organs are all Mithya. That is quotation number one. Mandukya Upanishad quotation we have seen many times in this discussion also about Atma being formless, pure, transcendent principle. Neither inside, neither outside. It is without any location. Then third quotation is Bhagavad Upanishad. This quotation here talks about how Atma appears as this entire multitude of beings in this universe. Reflections of the same one. Bhagavad Upanishad is Maitri Brahmanam and Mandukya Upanishad Hiranyamaya Kosha. We have seen this now. Then there is another beautiful quotation given by Shankara, which is Sweta Svatara Upanishad. Yo Brahmanam Vidhatati Purvam Yo Vai Vedascha Prahinoti Tasmai. Then he talks about Nishkalam, Nishkriyam, Shantam, Niravadyam, Niranjanam. These are all the different features of this art. Taintless, faultless, tranquil. These are the qualities of art. Who would not like to know this art? Our mind is full of impurities. But suppose I say, I discovered this Atma as myself. That is how Upanishads give this description, show that our mind can travel in this direction and capture that Atma for our own self. It is the subtlest of all, Chandogya Upanishad. See, this Bashyam study makes it very beautiful and interesting because of this multitude of verses which we learn from Bhagavad Gita, from Upanishads, and all expressing the same idea which is there in the commentary of Shankaracharya. In Chandogya Upanishad, it is the subtlest of all. Sarvam, this entire world is nothing but this. That is why the student asks the teacher 9 times in Chandogya Upanishad, "Oh teacher, teach me again. I want to learn more about this Atma." Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, 9 times it is repeated. like in Chandogya Upanishad, the teacher says, by knowing one lump of earth, you will know all the objects which are made of earth. Similarly, by knowing one reality, you will know the entire world of beings and things. Why? Because that is the Jagat Karanam. Brahman is Jagat Karanam. There exists some cause for this universe which I'm experiencing today in front of me. That Karanam has not changed. That is why I can even today say that that Karanam exists even today. It is called as Vivarta Upadana. That reality remains the same in all the three periods of time, past, present, future. Anybody who realizes that truth, which is changeless truth, he will get moksha. Some more quotations, lovely quotations are coming in these sections. Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, 13th chapter quotations, Shankaracharya quotes. What does he say in this particular portion of the commentary? He says this Turiyam. See, we are in the last verse of the second chapter. Even in the last verse, Shankaracharya and Gaudapadacharya want, again, one more time, they teach us the same Atma so beautifully. So that after learning all this, after learning 37 verses, you should not forget the truth of Turiya Atma. Again, that is why in this last verse, of the second chapter, again Shankaracharya dwells on revealing and reminding to us the truth which has been revealed in this second chapter. Normally, we revel in the sense objects which are outside, but a jnani will revel in Atma because he knows the nature of Atma. Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate adhyantavantas kaunteya nateshu ramate budaha. Bhagavad Gita says, why we should not look at this anatma world for our pleasures. Second chapter. This is the 5th chapter, 22nd verse. The entire world of anatma has a beginning and an end. Therefore, don't depend on it for your happiness because it will come and go away. But what doesn't go is Atma. At Karma Yoga level, we practice Vairagyam. And Vairagyam means never to be addicted to sense pleasures. It is easy to say this, but it is very difficult to practice. It is difficult, but keep trying. A day will come when you will cross over. It is not easy because our mind has got vasanas. Our vasanas keep us in this body to enjoy the world. What is this vasana? If you try getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, or you sleep, just lie in your bed for 10 minutes, you will know what is vasana. Impressions which keep coming. Close your eyes while you are sleeping, getting up. Before getting up from the bed, you just be an observer of your mind. You will know what is Karana Shariram. That impact of Karana Shariram will be felt by all of us when the mind is just woken up from sleep. Involuntarily, so many thoughts will come about this world. And that is the cause, that is the causal body. All of us have got it, but we don't realize it unless we come to Vedanta. So ignorant people will say, I have slipped. But a wise man will say, I don't, Atma never slips. That's what is mentioned here in this particular portion. Because the ignorant person mistakes the mind as himself, whereas a jnani knows I am not. As mind, I have forgotten I am Atma. I have slipped yesterday. I became angry. I forgot I am Atma. That is a normal. Don't worry about it. It is because of prarabdha karma. One can never slip from Atma is the truth. Because Atma is Sangha. You can never slip from Atma. You can never rise and come back to Atma because it is always shining in its own glory. Never connect the conditions of the body mind with Turiya Atma, which is Nitya Sangaha. See, all these explanations help us to identify the Atma correctly and hold on to this inner essence as my real nature. It helps me to meditate on the truth. I have covered some of these mantras. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastani Shunichaiva Shopakecha Pandita Samadarshanaha. Wise man has got Samadarshanaha. He is always, his mind is in equipoise. Samoshatro cha mitre cha tathamanapamanayoho shitosha sukhadukkeshu samasanga varjita. Again, samatvam is brought about in the 12th chapter, 5th chapter, 13th chapter. See, samatvam is one of the key words of Bhagavad Gita. You can do a research and find out where all samatvam has been discussed in Bhagavad Gita. There will be at least 20 places. These are 3 places here. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyati sa vinashyantam yaha pashyati sa pashyati. The one who is always equipoised in all the opposite conditions of the mind, he is a jnani. Not slipping from the truth, remembering the truth all the time. That is the status of a jnani. So the 7th mantra we have discussed so far. In chapter 2, the word used is prapancha upshamam. In the next chapter, chapter 3, we are going to discuss the word advaitam. What is Turiyam? Turiyam is the 4th state compared to the 3 states. Chaturtha pada. 4th when compared to the relative 3 states. But as the Turiya, it is the only state in which the world is absent, but I am present. Upanishad is negating the entire universe because the world is mithya. Suppose the world was real and Turiya was also real. This Dishtanam is also real and the Adhyasa is also real. Suppose it is real, then we will never be able to claim moksha. Why we can claim moksha, why we can claim freedom from this body, mind, and the world? Because there exists a substratum called Turiyam in which the world is absent. Please understand this point very, very well. Because if you understand Turiyam correctly, you will be able to hold on, abide in that truth. Turiyam is the reality in which the world is absent. Absent means what? It is not there for experience. World, as I explained to you before, can be regarded as, if it is not existent, then you can't negate the world because it is not existent. Not non-existent, then it need not be negated. If it is negated because it is seemingly existent. Suppose the world is not there, there's no need to negate the world. It's not there. So what can be negated then? A world which is seemingly there, it alone can be negated. Like rope snake, like magic show, like mirage water, like dream. Dream is the most powerful example. World is as though existent, not really existent. Seemingly existent can. That is why it is proved as mithya, proved by Anumana Pramanam in the second chapter by Gaudaparacharya. Turiya Atma is Satyam. I'm just doing a last revision before we get into the third chapter next week. Moksha is negation of Jagrat Prapancha as Mithya and holding on to the remainder as Turiya Atma. Chapter 2 had 38 verses. Logically, it established the Mithyatvam of the world. World can be experienced, but it cannot be counted because there is no second thing enjoying the same order of reality as Atma. Turiya is a higher order of reality, like Waker and Dreamer. Waker and Atma, Turiya Atma are higher and lower realities. Chapter 3 is going to talk about Advaitam, non-duality. There are 48 verses. It is one without a second. As Mithya world can't be counted as two, Turiya lends existence for the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti to manifest and unmanifest. This is a very important point. See, we don't realize this unless we come to the study of Mandukya Upanishad, the nature of the world. Only Mandukya Upanishad says, world manifests, world unmanifests. World manifests in the Jagrat and Swapna, world unmanifests in the sleep state. Therefore, the substratum of the world is Turiyam. Hold on to the substratum, and then you can say, Turiyam Satyam, Aham Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Aham Brahmaiva Naparaha, which is the message of all the Upanishads. Okay, just a few more slides, I think. Mantra number 7 describes two significant words, Prapancha Upashamam and Advaitam. Advaitam we will study in the next chapter. And what we are proving is through Anumanam, through inference. We prove the non-duality of the world and also the Mithyatvam. Universe is Janam. It is born from Prakriti. Prakriti consists of 3 gunas. But the 3 gunas are inert, Jadam. Again and again you must remember this, because on this Jadam alone, Shankaracharya and Gaudapadacharya says there is a consciousness aspect which is different than the Jada Prakriti. In Turiyam, all the 3 states are gone, Panchakoshas are gone, 3 Sharirams are gone. Ultimately, Turiyam is alone there. That is the truth which is described even in the basic fundamental text of Vedanta called Tattvabodha. In Tattvabodha also, we come across the same truth. Okay. Um, okay. What I will do is I'll take maybe another 5 minutes just to wind up today's talk. It may be another extra 5 minutes I will take so that we can wind up this particular chapter. How do we negate the universe as it is negated? Because it is seemingly existent category. If it is existent, then you cannot negate it. Atma is Satyam. It is existent. It is Turiyam is existent. Cannot negate. Aham is existent. It is cannot be negated. And for that, there are two mantras which Shankaracharya quotes. One is Kaivalya Upanishad, very famous mantra, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam. Then Taittiriya Upanishad, Yathova Imani Bhutani, and all the Mahavakyas. Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. All these are all talking about Satya. What is non-existent in the extreme right category, we can never, we don't need to negate. Non-existent. Flowers in the sky, non-existent. In between is the seeming category which we negate by Brahadanika Upanishad, Neti Neti, Kathopanishad, Neha Nanasti Kinchana, Kaivalyopanishad, Nabhumi Rapo Navanirasti, Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato Vacho Nivartante. These mantras which are quoted here are very, very significant mantras of Upanishads. Very significant. You must remember these, note down these mantras. Mantras are all mentioned here. Kaivalya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Upanishad, all these mantras and their meanings I have quoted here so that you have a collection of these mantras. Whenever you are having doubts about Mithyatvam, go through these mantras. Whenever you have got doubts about Satyatvam, go through these mantras. They are the mantras which reveal the ultimate truth. Turiyam is Chaitanya Swarupam, world is Jada Swarupam. Therefore, world is Mithya, Turiyam is Satya. We can negate world, but we cannot negate Turiyam Satya. The world features are all mentioned here as a corollary of second chapter. It is Savikaram. Savikaram means it has got modifications, whereas Turiyam has got Nirvikaram. We have covered these things many, many times just for you to have what is the difference between Atma and Anatma. The features of Atma and Anatma are quoted here. Turiyam is Adhishtanam. It is Nirdosham. There is no defect in Turiya. Whereas in the world, there is lot of doshas. Knowing Turiyam, I get moksha swarup. Knowing the world, I am always living in ignorance. In Turiyam, I have no birth and death. As Turiyam Brahma, once I claim I am Turiyam, it is a higher order of reality. It is the only countable entity in this entire universe, and it is revealed by Upanishads alone. So Advaitam, what is the significance of Advaitam? Advaitam means the world is Karyam, Turiyam is Karanam. We will see this elaboration in the next chapter. And to remind, the sixth mantra of the third pada is Karana pada. The first and second padas are the Karya padas. Waking state and dream state is Karyam, effect. What is the Karanam? The causal nature, the world, it is the third pada, which is the Ishvara and Brahman. The sixth mantra is quoted here. That which can never become many is called as Advaitam. Turiyam can never become many. What becomes many? Prakriti becomes many. Prakriti is lower nature. Advaita Atma is higher nature. So first and second pada is Karya pada, third pada is Karana pada, the fourth Turiya pada, it is called as Karya Karana Vilakshana. World can't come out of Turiyam because Turiyam is Karanam. We will study this Akaranam nature in the third chapter. Okay. Turiyam is not Prakriti, it is not Paramanu. These are all the confusions of other philosophers. What is most important, which is declared in the second chapter, is this verse of the second chapter, keep it as the central verse of the whole second chapter, which we have studied now. Na nirodho na chotpattir na paddho na cha sadakaha. There is no birth or no resolution. There is nobody in bondage. These are all mithya appearances. What is Satyam is Turiyam alone. And the only reality is Turiya. It is a huge jump for a jiva in the spiritual path. From jivatva to Brahman. And it is possible to realize this truth when we study the third chapter. We will have more details about this Advaita status of this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad I quoted before, Kathopanishad, Najayate Mreteva, very, very important mantra, Taittiriya Upanishad, also quoted before. So in the third chapter, we are going to establish Brahman is Advaita Sarupam, Advaita is not Karanam. Two things we will establish in the third chapter. Janmadasya Yataha. Janmadasya Yataha, the second sutra of Brahma Sutra, which says that know this Brahman as birthless. We will discuss this a little bit more later. The third chapter is called as Advaita Prakaranam. The second chapter, which we have finished, is called as Vaitatya Prakaranam. Okay. With this, we close the second chapter discussions. And next week, we'll start the third chapter. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There are no questions on the chat box. In case you want to ask any questions, please please raise your hand and you can ask your questions. Yeah, Shanta, go ahead.
Yeah. So all I would say is today's talk was wonderful, and the last bit which you gave the summary, I think that almost gave us the full view of the entire chapter. It was
Yes.
quite like a revision for me, because
Yeah.
I did miss a few classes in between of my
Yeah.
trips to India and other things. So it was quite nice. And so what I understood, I mean, from this, the two words which we are picking from chapter 7, mantra 7 of chapter 1,
Yeah.
is the Advaitam and Prapancha Upashamam, right? And that would
Yeah.
be the chapter 2 and 3. So what would be chapter 4 then? I'm just being curious.
Yeah, chapter 4 is refutation, and it discusses about all other schools of thought. There is Nyaya, Vaiseshika, and predominantly it discusses about Buddhist philosopher who talks about Shunyavadi, who says that the world is born from Shunya. There is nothing in the world. So Gaudapadacharya basically goes after all the philosophers. You see, what he does is he explains how each philosopher criticizes the other philosopher and negates other philosophy. For example, Sankhya Yoga is negated by Nyaya Vaiseshika. Then, so he says that anyway they have negated, therefore I don't have to negate Sankhya Yoga. Then Sankhya Yoga negates Vaiseshika and Nyaya. Similarly, the Buddhists also they come and they negate the others. So he discusses in the fourth chapter 100 verses, the longest chapter of Mandukya. And ultimately, he says that this world is not created, it is only projection of Ishvara. It is not a creation, it is not born, but this is the ultimate, the last portion where he says it is a projection of Ishvara for the benefit of the jivas to fulfill their karma phalas. Then he says Turiya Atma. Turiya Atma is the reality, which is beyond Karanam and Kal.
Yeah. So, but we have covered some of these schools in our chapter 2. Is that right?
Yes, he has covered,
he
but
has
that will be a little bit more detailed.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want me to continue the third chapter, or should we stop after the second chapter?
Oh, no, because the Advaitam is the most important part, and we would,
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Okay.
that would be the most, important thing for us. Maybe we can go a bit faster on the fourth chapter because it is just depends on what others say. But definitely the third chapter is important.
The third chapter is 48 verses, and it's Advaita. It's a central portion of why we say Advaitam is the truth. Non-duality is the truth. Good. Thank you, Shanta.
Thank you.
Anybody else has any other remark?
Yes, sir. Venkatesh.
Yeah, Venkatesh, go ahead.
So technically, with all these classes, we understand conceptually that Turiyam is the only reality, Brahman is the only reality, and everything else is mithya. But the problem is only that we are not able to leave that, because always we are in this condition of when we are transacting with the world, that realization or that understanding is not coming into the front, and you go on as if what you're doing is the ultimate. Right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Venkatesh, what you are saying is true. See, the knowledge which you get from Vedanta, it is only a pure intellectual knowledge. It has got nothing to do with Vyavahara. Vyavahara will still go on because Vyavahara is based on the law of karma. So, law of karma will say your body is born and it will go through certain conditions and it will go away one day. That's all. So, the knowledge is we have to understand the Vyavaharika world has got its own reality. The Paramarthika, the ultimate reality, the absolute reality, has its own reality, which is higher reality. So we have to live in both the realities even after knowledge. So you are perfectly right that there is in the Vyavaharika world there seems to be no change at all. which is the truth. Even in spite of jnanam, our vyavahara will continue. Vyavahara means what? I'm a father, I've got children, I've got to work, I've got to earn money. That is vyavahara. It will continue. But there will be an internal change in the mind. Should be it will change. You see, maybe that impact is not felt immediately because this is a very, very subtle knowledge, extremely subtle knowledge. It takes time, and there are a lot of factors for the ultimate phalam of moksha. You see, there is a lot of other things. You see, it is also Ishvara Prasad in the sense that there is higher reality, God, or something, whatever you may call, ultimately blesses us, and we know that that is the truth. So let's continue the study. So don't worry about what happens at the Vyavaharika level. That is the way to study.
Yeah. Right, because conceptually it is not complex to understand because it makes
Correct.
sense directly.
Yes.
Because everything has an end in itself and nothing is permanent, etc.
Yes.
Right.
Good. Thank you, Venkatesh. Thank you. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue next week. I'll let you know. I will be traveling from the 17th of this month till the end of the month. I will let you know as we go across. Next week, we will still have a class. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, Shikaji. Thank you.
Namaste.
Dhanyavad.
Thank you.